Hi, and welcome to another edition of John's Comics with Kids. This is the sadly final episode in our 50 greatest storylines that I own. I decided for this last one, it's sort of like all my favorite Marvel characters, but everybody has sort of like a great storyline, and I didn't want to do a whole episode on like The Punisher or something like that, but I could certainly pull out that one, or in his case, those two stories that I think are his greatest ones that I own. So it's going to be a sort of smattering of a bunch of characters through Marvel. And I want to get started right away, but I want to mention the two rules just so you understand how this game works for me. The rules are, of course, that I have to own a significant portion of any storyline that I'm sharing. So, if it's a 10-issue storyline, I have to get at least 5 of those issues to make it fair for something like this, because there's a lot of storylines that I don't own that I can't share. The other rule is that the storyline that I pick has to have at least 2 issues. So it can't be a one-off single storyline. Now, some of these are year-long stories, and those are usually my favorite. I'm going to start, though, with a shorter one. I've got 2 Punisher stories. He's the only guy getting 2 breakdowns in this particular video, and I'm going to start with this one. Punisher Eye for an Eye by Jim Lee. It basically collects the first 3 issues of Punisher War Journal, which for anybody who is not a Punisher fan or doesn't know anything about Punisher, never followed it before, this is an amazing starting place. They do a great job of giving you backstory while at the same time propelling a new storyline forward. It's just a really phenomenal story, really great artwork by Jim Lee, and what I love most about it is the first issue plays out with both backstory and prominent forestory. Across the bottom of every page of this first issue, you get the Punisher's backstory. You get the discovery of a crime, then you get the people turning on his family. All the while, you're having another story play out on top, a current story. It's kind of like pointing out that for Punisher, this is always in his mind. He's always thinking about it. I'm going to jump over to one that I've been talking about a lot on my feed again and again and again, and that's Old Man Hawkeye. I almost didn't include it because it's not done yet, and they have 3 issues left before they're done. But the truth is, these 9 are so good, it would make it worthy of this list. So the storyline is really powerful. You get a chance to look back at Old Man Hawkeye before the story of Old Man Logan, which is a powerful story in its own right. Right? You get lots of great characters that weren't in that other story. You also get a wonderful chance to explore the universe, which I never felt like Old Man Logan and then subsequent stories with Old Man Logan. They never really took the time to explore this unusual future Earth and its stories. Particularly powerful is this issue where it explains how were the Avengers so easily defeated? And I was really interested in this storyline, and I thought it was really well done. Now I'm going to go with one that's been in movies and certainly part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's the story of the Winter Soldier. It's the first 5 issues of Brubaker's run regarding the what happened, sort of, the backstory of what happened to Captain America's best friend, Bucky Barnes. And of course, it all culminates in this great issue where you get a little bit of that important information about where is Bucky Barnes and how has he become this horrible villain. It's just a great storyline. In fact, it continues on and you get more of his backstory in subsequent issues after that. But I really just wanted to focus on these 5 issues. The storyline's called Out of Time. Another more modern one that's just been very popular lately would be Thanos. Donny Cates' run on Thanos. I came along very late to reading this storyline, and I was really bummed that I missed out on the early issues. But I got involved right around issue 15, which I got a first print of that, and I got it signed by Donny when he came to my local shop. But I also got lots of the variants, and he was willing to sign pretty much everything I put in front of him from this run, even the annual, which they had just published. But it is a killer storyline. My favorite bits concern the way he reimagines the Silver Surfer, that battle between the 2 Thanoses and Silver Surfer. It's fantastic and worth the entire thing on its own. But you should just grab that trade if you've never read it. It's just gold, absolute gold. Another story that I've talked a lot about on this channel concerns the Lady Thor. And I chose this last storyline as my favorite because it really focuses on what's going on with Jane and the decisions that she makes, the incredibly noble and self-sacrificing decisions that she makes. It's a really, really powerful set of issues. It's just the last few in her storyline. This is the death issue, 706. But 705, 706, those are the culminating moments, and I would say it probably starts around 701. And those 6 issues are just a great capper to a fantastic run of comics. My next one is a real classic in the sense that it's something that most people have in their collection somewhere. The chance to really get to see Wolverine on his own. It was used a lot for that Wolverine movie, The Wolverine, but this is Frank Miller's 4-issue miniseries. I don't need to talk too much about it. Everybody's read it. Everybody's seen it. But if you haven't, go out and snag it. There's lots of trade versions. You can do it on Marvel Unlimited. I'm a Frank Miller fan, as you've noticed from these lists. That Frank Miller is really, really a talented writer. Specifically, his original stuff, his Daredevil, his early Batman, and of course this Wolverine run. You get Wolverine in Japan and all that great stuff. You get the cool samurai sword fights and all that kind of stuff. It's just really a killer story. So if you have not tried that one, hit that one up for sure. I've got my last 4 here. They're quite a diverse group, but I'm going to go with that other Punisher story I told you about. It's called Circle of Blood, and this collects the it's supposed to be a 5-issue miniseries, but of course it's infamous for the fact that at the beginning a lot of them say a 4-issue miniseries. It's a 5-issue miniseries. The art by Mike Zeck is absolutely incredible. It's just beautifully drawn. And this is a storyline that has to do with Punisher being in prison at the very beginning and Frank Castle being given the opportunity to get out of jail to confront some crime lords and crime families. It's action-packed, supremely cool and violent, but a really great follow-up. So if you read that War Journal storyline, this would be a great follow-up to that one. I'm going to go with a really offbeat one now. And most people don't know about this story, and I talked about it a few times. My local comic book shop recommended Black Panther's version of The Secret Invasion. This is a tie-in storyline connected to the Secret Invasion storyline. I liked Secret Invasion, all right. It's interesting. This is a way, way better story, and it's just 3 issues. You've got Black Panther 39, 40, and then this amazing issue 41. This, of course, focuses on the Skrull invasion, where they're invading the planet Earth and pretending to be great superheroes. And it goes into Wakanda and shows why the Skrulls have an absolute failure there. The artwork is really great, but Jason Aaron wrote these 3 issues, and they're just really, really great. You have Aurora, or Storm, from the X-Men. She's married to the Black Panther at this time, and the 2 of them are protecting the country, and it's really just exciting stuff. Lots of great twists. My last 2 are quite different in the sense that one of them is going to be about a family, and the other one not so much. This is a great 12-issue run by Tom King, who's currently doing Batman right now and doing a bang-up job, in my opinion, on Batman. But this focuses on a moment in time when the Vision has lost pretty much everything and wants to make a new life for himself. So he creates an entire family. Now, of course, this doesn't work, and he wants to leave superhero fighting behind, and of course, this all comes back to haunt him in this amazing issue, issue 3, when a supervillain decides to try to take it back from him. I think the storyline is really powerful, all about superheroes wanting a normal life and just struggling to be able to have those things. It's just a great 12 issues. I even have the first issue twice. Every once in a while, though, you get a great, unusual cover. I thought this one was just wild. You can just see how he is really missing the Scarlet Witch, and she's moved on from that relationship. I love these funny issues. They almost look like Norman Rockwell paintings that have been reimagined for this storyline. Something like the dog chasing a frisbee, but of course it's Captain America's shield and all that great stuff. It builds towards a really powerful end. I've mentioned it a couple of times on this channel, but this is a good story if you've never read it. It's a really powerful one, and I believe they just recently published a trade version of it, so you should check it out. I've saved this one for last because it's probably the most intense and dramatic, and it's the only one that I think I have on my list that is led by a female. This is Bendis's run on a comic book called Alias, but specifically it's the story of Jessica Jones. If you've watched the television program, this is basically the sort of end of that first season. The storyline is called Purple. It's 5 issues. It goes from issue 24 all the way to 28. The culminating storyline obviously involves the Purple Man, who has the ability to control people with his sort of just his presence, his pheromones, if you will. In particular, this issue is absolutely one of my favorites because it breaks down why she has felt this way, why Jessica sort of is broken by this problem of the Purple Man. And it goes through and talks about how her relationship with the Avengers ended. And it goes through a really powerful sequence. And you get to realize just how powerful she is when you see the entire Avengers trying to take her out and stop her. Obviously, you get lots of great cameos. Scott Lang plays a really important part. Luke Cage, of course, plays a really important part. So you get a lot of great characters, a lot of great storylines, but then, of course, the focus is on a broken woman and how she recovers from that breaking. It's a really great story. You can get it, I believe, as a full trade. 2 trades, I think, is what covers the entire thing, the run of Alias that Bendis did. But this would be the end of that run. So that's it. That is my top 50 storylines. You can look back through, if this is your first time on my channel seeing one of these videos, you can see the breakdown by category or by hero, and you can see maybe there's one that you're more interested in others. I know the X-Men one seems to be one of the more popular ones. That's it for these storylines. I'm going to focus next, I think, on doing character breakdowns. I'm looking into which characters I would like to celebrate. It's not going to be like a hero like Wolverine. I'm going to look for an offbeat character. My first breakdown, I think I'm going to do on the villainous species known as the Brood. And I'm going to try to give you sort of the backstory of everything we know about the Brood, the key appearances for that species, and any key characters from that species. I have several that I really, really love from my collection, and I'm going to have to kind of look around and see if there's issues that I need to add to my group just to be able to tell that story well. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown, my final one. Like and subscribe, and please leave a comment if there's a character you think I should be trying to do a breakdown on, or a storyline that I should be doing next. Let me know, and I hope you guys have a nice weekend.